Hey, I'm still super shy with microphone stuff. I think Internet Explorer won't support any of this, although the compiler actually like turns modern JS into like old browser JS. I think it's an option at least. Let's see. Closure, compiler, targets. I think it should be a thing here. This really has shit documentation, so flags and options. Yeah, so here it says language out. It can go all the way to JavaScript from 2015 to more modern stuff. I'd love to try that actually. So let's see both of these. Well, I need to fix the code first. Yeah, I mean, Google uses this internally for their products, so what and I think they support pretty much every browser that still sees usage. Maybe not Internet Explorer, but you know, definitely old iPhones and stuff. They don't want to pass those on. Okay, this is what I need. Hex. Done. There's one here. Hex. With zero indication why. Great error message, but X should work. Let's see. List steps. Okay, it wants to get hash, but hash wants to get this, but it doesn't know because my compiler is stupid, that's why. So I think it does everything with a regular expression. And you know, this never goes wrong. We can trust regular expressions with everything. So let's see. Well, I thought this would work. Let's check online. This. Let's get also this one here is another test case. And is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Right, I know it doesn't work because I used single quotes and my regex looks for double quotes. Okay, that was a short debugging session. Should work now. So yeah, now it knows about both of the dependencies and should be able to build. Oh, missed one, I guess. Where is this? Line 18. Not here. Ah, I know. It's in. It's this one. Should be good now. Fuck, why can't this thing just work? Never defined. Ah, yes, of course. Need to do encode U8, encode U8 array, and encode array buffer. I had all of these in a single file yesterday, and when you separate them, you need to tell JS basically what's what. Okay, so that works kind of, but now there's nothing because I never call main. That's why. This compiler is extremely aggressive, like really good optimizing compiler. You forget one thing and then gets rid of the whole thing from your outputs. So this is the outputs I get from the compiler when it's on, let's see, what's the output format we ask for? Next, basically. So we ask for the latest version of JavaScript. Let's try 2015. It should look very, very different. Well, first of all, it's much longer, and it has to do a lot of trickery with object properties, global this, checking type of stuff is object, you know, because it's 2015 web, it can trust essentially nothing. So it's like the compiler's output is basically full of sanity checks. It doesn't even know, is there pad starts, should I provide my own, puts like polyfills everywhere. It's awful. If we try something slightly more recent though, like not next maybe, but 2018, 2019, the output should be much more reasonable, without requiring like modern browser from your users. And yeah, this is pretty good, very compact. I actually don't know if this is different from modern JS. I might not be using any modern features to affect the outputs. You know, I'm too lazy to run a diff on it, but it certainly looks identical to me. So I'm just gonna assume it is. So we want our hash to be able to absorb absorb JavaScript strings, because I mean the hash will be useless if it can't hash strings. So UTF-8, let's import that, UTF-8, and when we're doing absorb string, I guess I'll do UTF-8.encode, whoops, and let's format everything, and it should be good, I think. Whoa. Okay, prettier is, well, it's gone mad. So now you can see our dependency graph looks more interesting. That's a really weird way to format it, but you know, not too bad. I think once you have more, the main file takes a more central stage really. Could split up this bit, because, well, no, let's keep it. We're not going to reuse it. If I reuse it ever, I can split it off from there, but for now it's fine. Now, this is the main part of fingerprinting, and I really don't want everything to be packed into one function like this. I'd prefer to have each of these in their individual files and then some sort of code generator to just put everything in a function like this. Of course with the proper type annotations, so closure can still turn into nothing. Let's grab all the fingerprinting stuff from here. Let's cut that and then put it on our main file. So that's, we still end up doing all that. So I don't want to dump the states, don't want to make my own thing here. Okay, let's format. There we go. And let's build now. And see what it turns all of that into. Well, it turns it into a compiler error. So I need to import hex from hex. Now, since we use hex from both files, actually, the dependency graph should look much more interesting. There we go, still pretty compact. Well, does it run is the big question. I just want to check the dependency graph. There we go. So hex is used by both the hash utility and the main file. And as far as I know, hash only uses it for a debug function to dump the internal states. So it's actually not required to have this one here, but you know, why not? The build system makes it easy, so we'll use it. Let's see if this runs in a browser. Let's check. Example.com. Is always a nice domain for testing. Let's paste that here, entering the main function, and then just got a hash. So hashing is kind of slow, I'm not gonna lie. I know why, because it's a very heavy hash function. Like, it's actually an experimental one I made for some crypto stuff, but it works, so I could port a more lightweight one, certainly, but I think for now what I can do is, so what we do is We do 8 iterations for every byte of the state, which comes to, let's see, 2048 calls to our main like triple 32 function. That doesn't sound very bad. That should be pretty quick. I mean, I suppose JS is kind of slow maybe, but yeah, you know. Does this need to be that fast? Not really. Yeah, it's pretty fast. I could bring down the number of rounds, but then the hash quality suffers. For every byte though, do we really need 8? No, we can do 4. 4 should still be fine. For squeezing, we can keep 8. We produce a lot less data from the hash than we put into the hash, so that really sounds okay to me. Right, let's see if this made it any faster. It's pretty similar. It's a little faster, I suppose. Could optimize it further, but it's really not necessary. Okay. Dump, we're not going to use dump. And if we're not going to use that, it means we're not going to use hex at all here. Which means our dependency graph is back to being a flat chain again. Which is nice. You know, the less your build tool has to do, the better. Okay. So, here we're back to our fingerprinting page again. I'd really like to, split these up. And I want to debug them a little. Now they look kind of... because there's... well, you hash it so the output becomes very obscured, and you ignore all exceptions and put the exception in it just in case a feature is not supported by a browser. That's still valuable information. But it means it's really difficult to debug this because any error you make while writing fingerprinting functions just disappears. So let's see, const output is that. Yeah. Console log. We shouldn't always log this, but we can do it this time. Let's log name and outputs, and put output.toString into the hash. Sorry. Why would it do that? Seriously. Let's run with prettier cursor, node modules. That should be all at once. Oh. Oh well, I'm not gonna bother too much. Okay, so now if I build it, it should include some console.log outputs of everything we are putting into the hash. And we should be able to see exactly what it's doing. Ah, webcam's not dead yet. That's great. Okay, so user agent works, screen size works, all of these work. This is kind of what I expect because we're not doing anything fancy here yet. But eventually I'm gonna do some more interesting stuff like enumerating installed fonts on the computer, which should produce a lot more outputs, and it's a lot riskier because, you know, it's easy to get that wrong. So fonts enumeration, well, let's give it a go. So what I want to do here is, first of all, a list of fonts. So what are some common fonts? Another thing is, do we want common fonts or not? Because if they're common, they're not going to change a lot between computers. Like Helvetica remains the world's most popular font. Then if we include that, it's not really a lot of signal for us. But on the other hand, if we include really obscure fonts, when they're available, that's really valuable information for fingerprinting. But if they're not going to be available for pretty much anyone, then we can't really capitalize on the difference, the subtle font differences and differences in the font selection with common users. So I guess it's good to include some common ones, some normal ones, and some like super obscure but still, you know, likely to run across once. And the way I'm planning to do this, there are two ways to do it, right? One of them is you just render text with it. You see how large the output is by like you know, width and height essentially. And the other is you actually render text. You render into a canvas, for example. You turn that into a picture, and then you just hash the whole picture, and that gives you even more information than just how much space the text takes, because, you know, each browser has subtly different font rendering. Windows settings can even affect, because of, you know, every monitor has different parameters, and ClearType reads those and messes with your font rendering. Even like which pixel you place your browser in can affect like subpixel placement of you know, font glyphs. So, you know, lots of information there, but that's also a lot of work to do. So let's start with you know, Arial, I think, is a common font. Not anymore, perhaps? Well, it's still on the list. Okay, let's see. Helvetica. I'm gonna split, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not gonna bother with all of this. Helvetica. Then I can't do stuff like Times New Roman though, so... Okay, let's go back to the list. Oh, first of all, browsers have default fonts. There are slightly different in every user, right? So if we just do that, these three should already get us some detail on how large the sorry, which fonts are being used. So let's canvas. Let's make a new canvas here. Create elements, canvas, and we need canvas contexts, which we can create by doing canvas.create context. No, canvas elements. Let's check the MDN documentation, because I really cannot remember how that's done. Get context. Okay. Get context. So now we have our 2D context. we do is, let's see, do we set the font on the context? Yeah, we do. So context of fonts equals, let's see, let's look at font size. Also, which way do you do that, really? I'm gonna check how to set the fonts. Okay, it's size first and then the font name or font family or whatever. But what if the font name has spaces? Okay, let's deal with that later. 24 pixels seems like a reasonable size to try. So for const font of fonts, see, we can even do fancy JavaScript stuff. So we set the fonts and then we need measure whatever, measure texts. So we do context, measure text, and we are going to measure literally anything will work. Maybe quick brown fox. That has every letter once, doesn't it? And if it has every letter just once, it's really okay. It's a sentence that contains all of the letters, but that doesn't necessarily mean it contains every letter just once. So this should work. And measure. So we measure that text, and then we should have a result here. Results. Let's do results. And let's append JSON. Results. So now this is a lot more interesting because the other one, like user agent, time zone, this is really basic shit. Like everyone logs those, everyone looks at those. But like checking fonts, which fonts are installed, are they what they claim to be, are they rendered the same way, but all of that. Sorry, just checking the text. Right. All of that can vary just really subtly between computers. So let's check. Whoop. Font enumeration couldn't do anything because probably we can't JSON stringify the text metrics objects. That's no fun. Okay, so results equals. So let's write the font name here. So fonts, and then let's turn measure into M, so it's easy to type for us. Width. Other ones, oh man, these are really useful to have, but I think even just height should be, even the width should be enough, but, well, let's actually join these together. Width and height. helps. This should be pretty good data points though. I'm not gonna lie, this should be pretty useful. Though now the list of fonts used is pretty crucial for that. Right. It can get the width. The height is undefined. Which is really sad. So it cannot get the height. Well, shit. Horizontal line, text baseline. Ah, crap. What's all this shit then? Well, then I just get rid of height. I guess we don't need that. And without that, it should be a little faster as well, because it doesn't have to keep hashing all these undefined stuff. Oh, that's extremely precise. Like, holy shit, look at the number of decimal points on that shit. That's pretty good for getting data. I mean, even a tiny difference in font rendering will show up for this. So we did that. Cool. Now let's add some other fonts to our list. I'm just gonna format the code real quick. There we go. It's back. Serif, sans serif, monospace. Let's do Helvetica. Let's do Calibri. Let's do. Are these even gonna work though? Let's do Times New Roman. Let's do all of that. Now here's the thing I want to know. Canvas font name. Is that how we set it? Well, it's the Canvas learning system or some shit. Fonts, family names. So it's basically uses CSS formats. So let me just look at that. Oops. Well, that is absolutely terrible loading speed. Just what I would expect from web browser workgroups, really. That's fucking awful. Goddamn CSS font name. Right, sorry about that, I was just checking a message again. Let's see, font family. CSS fonts. W3 schools, seriously, I can't believe I just fucking clicked that. Georgia, okay, so it looks like as long as it's a single word or something separated with a dash, we don't need to quote that. But we could, couldn't we? We totally could. So, just because it will be convenient, let me just quote everything. Well, I mean, I said you can, but I've never tried this, so let's see what happens. Another font I'll probably add is actually one I'm using right now, Open Dyslexia, because, you know, common problem to have, and good data points. Well, terrible thing to do, as is fingerprinting your users, but no, let's see if there's any significant difference between these. It looks like everything is the same size. I'm wondering if that's because I set my browser to override fonts. So let's say it's not overridden. Let's reload this page. There we go. Aha! Now look, each of these fonts has a very different size, which is great for us. That's a ton of data. So, you know what? Let me add even more options. So Arial is an option. Let's open dyslexic. Let's add that. Open dyslexic. So that's a ton of fonts. Could add more, but also could just not bother. Should I sort that? Yeah, let's do it. Why not? No, this uses the Canvas API, not in the really, really accurate, really good way of like rendering stuff and then checking the outputs, but you know, we do font enumeration. This is usually like the first step to take when you go from baby level fingerprinting to like big boy fingerprinting. So that's nice. Yeah, look at that. Every single one of these fonts, every single one, aside from these two, Calibri and Open Dyslexic, weirdly, are identical, are different, very, very different. Cool. Oh, it might be I don't have Calibri, so it falls back because of, again, my browser settings, which is even good, you know, as valid data points to have. So cool, that one's done. Can write about that, but not gonna bother right now. So one thing I like doing on this project is I have a browser extension, right, for blocking these fingerprint attempts, but that also provides a really good source for, you know, getting ideas of fingerprinting, because when I make this extension, if I deemed something unnecessary or harmful to have exposed to arbitrary web pages, that's a good indication we want to use that for fingerprinting. So let's check. Old stuff. No. Could use navigator bars. Let's check. one thing I don't like is this script keeps growing, but I think we can cut down on some fluff later. There. Next touch points is 0, got some fonts, got some stuff. That's really nice. Yeah, we could put this on a place now, correlates IDs with users, and then when user logs out or switches accounts, ID should indicate, oh, are these the same people? I wonder how the iOS browser does with this, because, you know, not a lot of variety in software or hardware on iOS Safari, but I think combined with IP address especially should be a pretty good indicator to which user in this IP, you know. And if you're a website, you're pretty much guaranteed to have the IP. Yeah, that's fun projects. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Hey, look at this shit. So here, right, I have my font list for the font enumeration. As an array, I was planning to split it by spaces, and then I decide, oh, you know, it will be difficult to have font names with spaces in them. But the fucking Clojure compiler noticed, oh, none of these items has a semicolon in it, so I just put them all in one string and then called .split semicolon on it, which is crazy. This is a really useful optimization to have. Works really well, clearly, and I'm really surprised because I haven't seen it do that before. Might be a new feature, might be just something I never paid attention to, but this compiler is really, really amazing. Let's see, let me just comment this out so it's more usable in websites. I'll make it, instead of console logging, I'll make it return the ID. And then I can actually start checking different browsers, different configurations, operating systems, how consistent this ID is. I might make a web demo later, but yeah, that's that. There's a lot more I want to implement, but I think I might take a small break and continue tomorrow, maybe. Let's see. (32-byte ID). Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Gonna continue tomorrow because 1 hour is kind of my limits. Because I'm new to this, so yeah, as you can see on the screen, it says thanks for watching, and that's what I'm gonna do. I thank everyone that was here tonight. Thanks for watching, and I'll probably do something tomorrow or this weekend, worst case. So yeah, see you all next time. Bye.